Hello again, and it's the KT Technic channel, my technical side of my YouTube presence, and we were dealing with smart car that I had previously, which I still got, that one over there, and it's the Smart 451. I think if you remember in the last video I did the polycarbonate roof on it and got rid of all the old protective coating that was on it and got it back polished so you can actually see through it. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the description. Anyway, while I was taking that car out, I took it over to a dealer over in Kent who said they might be able to program that smart car to accept fog lamps. Now, Mercedes are a bit cunning from this period. This is the SAM unit, the signal acquisition module, and it's the same on that one, but very similar unit. And if you haven't bought fog lamps from new, you have to have them programmed to make them work. If you add them as an additional extra, which is a pain in the arse because that was 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago, and not a lot of smart mechanics seem to know what the hell you're talking about. And if they do, they're going to charge you at least an hour's labour just to switch your fog lamps on in here, and that stops your switches working as well. So even if you buy switches, you buy the fog lamps, wire them all in because the wiring's in there, you put it all in, it won't work because this hasn't been told that you've got them. Bit of a con really. But anyway, so I took it to a local specialist and asked them if they could do it because they had the software, and they tried to do it and unfortunately couldn't do it. It is something that you have to have certain codes to do and so on and so forth, and you have to buy a transaction number, a TAN code to be able to program the SAM unit. This video came about because while I was there I noticed this beautiful little orphan sitting in the corner looking all forlorn, and it was something I sort of wanted but couldn't justify, and that's a smart Brabus Roadster. It's the notch type, not the bit with the greenhouse on the back, the coupe. So I actually prefer the look of this one, and it was sitting there, and while I was waiting for them to not successfully program my smart on the 451, I inquired about this one because the price was pretty low, considering it's a Brabus and it's a smart Roadster and they're sought after now, and I just wondered why it was so low. The owner told me that it was because they couldn't get the thing to work at all with regards to electrics. It was related to the SAM unit. This is the SAM unit from this car, and two things. One, that had an airbag light permanently, which was activated when they disconnected the seat to clean underneath or something, and obviously it triggered it and they couldn't untrigger it. So that was one point, and I'll come on to how I fixed that in a moment. And the second point was every time you turn the ignition on, the indicators flashed on the right hand side, not on the left hand side, and didn't matter whether you pressed the stalk or not, it was definitely coming from a fault in the SAM or the wiring, which is where I started. So I decided to not buy it that day. I came home, talked to my partner, and I was encouraged about it, and she said, oh, just go on, you can fix it. So I'm glad she's got confidence in my abilities in that respect, because I was beginning to doubt my own. Kane over at EVILUTION, that guy is a genius, you know. He's created an absolute mine of information, and one in a tiny little part of the tons of information that he's got, he happened to mention airbag lights and warning lights, and the fact that you can you don't have to take the whole thing. I mean, it wasn't drivable, so didn't have an MOT, sitting on a forecourt, as I say, and so I wasn't about to take it to Mercedes, having gone through all of the costs involved. So he happened to mention that one now discontinued scanner was able to address bidirectionally the safety restraint system, the SRS system, and actually eliminate any error codes relating to the warning lights on the dashboard. So the device that he mentioned, you can get in AliExpress in China, or you can buy it from Amazon. I bought it from Amazon because I wanted to be sure I didn't get it cloned, or you know, I wanted one that worked. And it is the FOXWELL NT630 PLUS. Now that's important. The 630 plus bit is important because all the other ones don't have that facility, but it has airbag reset, and also I've just found out, which is very important, it has ABS flushing. So you can flush the ABS system if you happen to, say, change a caliper and you want to bleed the brakes correctly, get rid of all the air in the ABS module. Otherwise you'd have to take it to Mercedes. So this will do that as well, I think, because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm absolutely convinced, because I went ahead and bought this on Amazon on the basis I could take it back if it didn't work, and I plugged it into this very car over at the dealer, and within a minute I'd have cleared the dashboard of the ABS light, and the lady proprietor was quite impressed, and I said, look, I suppose you want, you know, 6 or 7 grand for this car now that it works. And she said, no, I'll sell it to you for what's on the sticker price. And she kept her promise. So that was great, and I got an absolute bargain, and I thought I'd solved the problem. Oh, she threw in a free MOT as well when I got it fixed. The other problem was this flashing of the indicators. Now, when you switched it to position 1 or 2 of the ignition, the car started, not a problem. Went into gear, not a problem. But the indicators on the screen, the light was flashing continuously, and this bank of 3 offside indicators, the right-hand indicators to me, were flashing continuously and didn't stop flashing. So, and the other side didn't work at all. And when you press the hazard, these continued to flash, but twice as fast. And when you would switch to the stalk, it didn't have any effect at all. So my suspicion was that it was a short somewhere in the wiring. That proved not to be the case after very remedial checks, very basic checks of the wiring. The SAM unit is a nightmare, principally because of where it's positioned. In Roadsters that came across between 2004 and 2006 or 7, it's positioned on the offside, on the right hand side, under the dashboard. Now, on all European cars where they're left-hand drive, that means it's in the passenger well, which means you've got limited but pretty good access to it under there. There's not a steering column in the way, or a steering wheel. Now, I'm miniature person, and I struggle to get in here, but I can slide in under here with the help of various cushions and things and work under there. But even then, it's, you've got literally, there's the SAM and there's your nose, and you've got to get all these plugs out. Now, getting them out is a nightmare. You have to squeeze them really hard and then pull, and they're pretty big tabs on these, as you can see on some of these, and they're difficult to pull out, but they do come out. And if you take them from the front, it lowers itself down slowly. You can get these two at the back out, and then you finally undo this 10mm bolt here, and you can take the main power off. Obviously, when you do any work on anything to do with computers on a car, because of the airbags and because of safety and shorting and various other things, I disconnected the battery. You must do that. So where did I get to? So I pulled out these two here. Now these sockets here are all relatively high current, hence the size of the terminals and the wires associated with them. These two here principally are very low current or signal or earths from. For instance, the wiper stalk, the wiper stalk and the indicator stalk. So when I press up, that puts an earth from the center of the switch down onto a pin here, pin 38 I think, and 39 of this plug here, which is a 40 pin plug, and you can see how tiny these pins are. Now when I took that plug out and got this out finally, inside that socket, which is on the board inside here, that's another thing we need to talk about. Two of the pins were broken off. One of them was still in the plug, as I found out later, and that was important because that had to be extracted. And we found the other one wedged in down here somewhere, which means it fell out when I took the other plug out. They broke off because of corrosion. Now that's a major problem with regards to roadsters, and it was a subject of quite a lot of recall, and their non-profit side of their business. I think they lost, I think it was 30 million I heard on smart cars on that period before they brought out the 451. So the biggest problem is it's on this side and it's below the wiper drain. So when water comes in, it goes through the holes in the slot and then down into this well where the wiper motor lives. And that's supposed to go out through a plastic tube, out down through the front of the inside of the car and onto the floor and out. Unfortunately, over 20 years, 2 centuries plus, the rubber around that well perishes away, or it gets blocked with leaves and debris, and it's almost impossible to get to clean it out. And a lot of people wouldn't even think about cleaning it out anyway. But anyway, what happens is water builds up there, it comes over the top, and through various holes and a broken seal, it gets down into the car at the top of this dashboard at the back where it's all metal. At that point is the harness, and it runs down the main wiring harness and straight down into this socket here. It corrodes the pins, and then there are pins missing, deliberately missing, so it goes through those pinholes and onto the circuit board below. And that area, general area, happens to be where all the electronics is, principally for the indicators. And so you can see my thinking that that had happened. Water had ingressed at some point, got down in here, definitely got down in here because it was green corrosion, copper corrosion. The pins were broken off on 2 occasions. Nothing to do with the indicators, but it went down into the board, and the board had signs of corrosion. Now you can take these apart. These clips here come off, you undo those, a couple of screws here, 3 screws here, and you can take the cover off, and then the main body comes off, and you're left with a folding circuit board. And it has 3 circuit boards, one main one with the microprocessor, one main one with all the relays on, one with it folds over with the processor and all the electronics on, and another one that folds over which does other things as well, fuses, I think. The biggest problem is the area next to the microprocessor is a load of other smaller chips which do control how the actions of the indicators work. Things like if your bulb goes out, it double flashes them. If your key battery is running out, it flashes them 9 times after you switch off to say your battery's getting low, and so on like that. So it's not like the old days where it was just a simple relay, and you put an earth on it and that connected 12 volts to the lights and they flashed. It's nothing like that. It's all inside here. So my suspicions were with this, and I started to look at the wiring with this out, and I got the 2 pins that go into this pin socket in the corner, and I de-pinned them from the 40 pin plug and put little pins in, and I put a meter on those and then turn the stalk here or the indicator up and down, or my partner did, whose camera I'm working at the moment, and that showed an earth only when it was turning right or left on the correct pins. So there were no shorts actually on the loom. That proved the point. So it's definitely something I thought down in this device. I sent this off to a guy in Kent who initially tested it all out, repaired the pins, checked all the solder joints. Obviously these things, they initially used lead-free solder in these, and the lead-free solder is a nightmare. Over years it crystallizes and forms high resistance circles around the pin, and so basically it starts to get high impedance joints, and things start going wrong. You get random things. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, and that depends on vibrations and stuff like that. So intermittent joints, intermittent dry joints, are an utter nightmare for an electrical diagnosis, electronic diagnosis. In any case, he resoldered those with lead solder, so they're good to go for another century. He did another test on it, what I thought, got it working, and sent it back. However, the fault for the indicators was still there, so we came to the conclusion that there was deep down in the electronics there, or even in the processor, that it was a write-off. He then said to me, what I can do is I can activate the processor on this and take the program memory and clone it completely onto a known working, a new to me used SAM, which he did, and it was remarkably good and helpful with regards to that. I'll put his link down in the description and his name if you want to contact him for similar problems. Highly recommended. So he did repairs, did his best, and then when it didn't work, he actually sourced another SAM and cloned this one onto it and sent it back within a day. Unbelievable. And so I've just literally put it in, and everything works. Everything works fine. So these things are an absolute nightmare. Diagnosis is not, it gives you a rough idea of what's wrong, but to be honest with you, if this has been water damaged, if you're lucky you can clean that water damage off. If you're not, like me, not lucky, and then it's going to cost you a few £100. But I got such a cheap price for this car that it was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. I think the total cost was about £350 in all in to get a working SAM, and it does work, and they're warranted for a year. So excellent. So now I've got a working Brabus 2004 Brabus smart car. I'm absolutely thrilled to death. Just before I go, on the 451 and on this, the ICARSOFT scanner, people ask, you know, what type of scanner do you use? Up till now, I would use this, and this is the ICARSOFT, and it has to be the MB version 3. So that's Mercedes-Benz version 3, and it has Mercedes-Benz, Sprinter, Maybach, God, you know, those horrible limousine type things, and the smart car, both the 4.2s and the 4.52s, which is the roadsters, the two roadsters, and this will handle all of, and it's really good. It does everything except for it doesn't do airbag reset, and it doesn't do ABS as far as I know. So this is worth its weight in gold. I think this is about 120 quid, 128 quid, and this one's about the same, maybe a bit 150, something like that. So they're definitely both worth, both of them are worth having, simply because these cars are like the old cars in the old days, your midgets and your Spitfires, Triumph Spitfires and your Morgans and all that. They're cars that they're old, the wiring's getting old, the earths are getting a little bit compromised now. You get water ingression, even with condensation within this car. Even if it didn't leak, you'd get the SAM unit potentially. It's not sealed like modern cars. There is another ECU that's at the back, and that's next to the air intake filter. I've yet to. I'm pretty sure that seems to run okay on everything, but that's something I've got to go and diagnose now. I've got the car running, but my first job, MOT, and I'll be coming back after the MOT for the first test drive, and so I look forward to that. There will be quite a lot on the Smart Roadster, Brabus Roadster, on the basis that I've already done a lot. I need to play catch up with that. One of the other MOT failures for this was the ball joint on the bottom of the wishbone on the near side. Utter nightmare. I think the left hand ball joint must have spent its life living in the sea. It welded itself to the steering knuckle, and there was nothing that would remove it. And you can put as many comments as you like in the comments below about, wow, did you try a blowtorch? Did you try? I tried everything. Okay, and I eventually sawed the end off, took it out to my anvil, which is a Peter Wright anvil, yay big, and I hit it with the biggest sledgehammer I could find, and it still didn't move. It's utterly welded in. So I'm hoping this side has not got the same problem. However, this side, the ball joint's okay, so I'm leaving it like that. So that side's been done. That's another episode. And also I'm going to be doing some dismantling of the engine, doing some checks. I've done compression checks. I'll go through all of that with you. I will do videos on how to take the panels off by giving you videos of how to put them on again. That my partner has offered to do, and that should be quite amusing. The panels are all cleaned, they're all good. The spoiler on the front was a bit of a mess, obviously, because speed bumps, and even my driveway was a nightmare when they delivered it. So that's all being refurbished. But yeah, look forward to seeing lots more episodes on this beautiful little car. I really have fallen in love with it. It's a wonderful design, aside from all the little foibles and things. Oh, and the roof. Yeah, that's definitely another video, and we'll be putting that back on now. It's been refurbished, but that was a game and a half, and makes the story all of its own. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video and you want to see more. And we'll see you again in the next episode, hopefully driving down the country lanes of Kent in our new, for me and my partners, Brabus 452 Roadster. Take care, and we'll see you again. Right, Alfie? Bye.